Okay, so we've just highlighted the fact that we need to put this equipment into our cash flow statement as well. And I'm going to move on to the next account that we're going to rebuild. I'll slide my textbook down so that you can all see it. And the next one I'm going to rebuild is my accumulated depreciation. So my accumulated depreciation we're looking at here is starting with an opening balance of 53,000. So I'm just going to build it, and that's a negative. So it's a negative non-current asset. So my 1st to the 7th, 10 is opening, and here it is a balance of 53,000. And I have a closing balance. And that's the 30th of the 6th, and I'll write that in a closing balance. My closing balance is 14,900. And what I'm looking to do is, as I have been for the whole lot, is to put my balances in there. So now, but I need to recognise that I've got some expenses down here called depreciation expense. So that will increase my accumulated depreciation. So I've got 4,900 there. That's expense. That makes 57,900. So I know I'm looking back to here, 57,900. And remembering that I'm trying to balance back to this number here, so the difference between my 14,900 and my 57,000 is $43,000. And that's what I've sold throughout the year. So that confirms that I've captured all my items there. Now let's have a look down my list. My land is the next one I'm going to have a look at, so that'll finishing off my investing activities. Land. And my opening balance of land, it's an asset account, so it'll have a debit balance. 300,000. That's my opening. On the 1st of the 7th, and on the 30th of the 6th, my closing balance is 900,000. So have we got any other additional information in relation to land? No, we haven't. Nope. So I'll tick that and I'll tick that. So that must mean my balance is 900,000 and 900,000 here. So that must mean I put some money into land, and that was $600,000. So that'll go into my cash flow statement as well. Now after land, let's have a look down my list. The next one I get to is dividends payable. So let's do dividends payable. My dividends payable, and I'm looking to work out how much cash went through my dividends payable account. So we start with an opening, well, I've lost my dividends payable. We start with an opening, it's a liability, so credit balance on the 1st to the 7th. My opening balance is 10,000. So it's 10,000, where is it? 10,000 there, so I'll tick that one off. Now we've also got, that went through there, we've got some interim dividends and some final dividends, so that would have increased my dividends. So let's put in interim. And my interim was, what was it, 20,000? And my final dividend was 30,000. So that'll give me a total of 10, 20, 30, 60. Now I had a closing balance, and that was on the 30th of the 6th. What was my closing balance? 30,000. And I'm coming back to my balance of 60. So that must mean that my bank or my payments was $30,000. So once again, $30,000. And I can, where is my, yep, tick that one off. Dividends, I've got 2 more to go. I've got a loan. Let's slide up. My loan account. And I started with 100,000, it's a credit, so 1st to the 7th, opening of 100,000. And I finish with a closing of 270 on the 30th of the 6th. And there's no other information about loans. Nope. So my balance is 270. 270. So therefore my proceeds, or bank, is 170,000. And that will now go into my cash flow statement under loan proceeds. And I can tick off my loan. Where's my loan? There it is. Now my last is my share capital. Did I issue, because it says here that I issued some ordinary shares during the financial year, and if I issued them, I usually issue them for cash. So I've got share capital. And I started with an opening balance of 200,000. So my capital is a credit balance. And that's on the 1st to the 7th. And I finished with a closing balance of how much? 330. And that was on the 30th of the 6th. And on the 30th of the 6th, now it doesn't tell me any other details or besides what I issued, so I've got 330 as my balance, 330. So this must mean that in my bank account I received 130,000 for share capital. Now let's see, if I tick that one off, that would be all my cash movements. Accumulated depreciation of equipment. Now we haven't ticked off this item here, which is 17,000 loss on the sale of equipment. So let's just recalculate what would have been the movement through of cash movement there. Now it says I've got to use this information that's down here. So I've got a couple of pieces of information that I still require. So now my original cost, equipment, so cost was 68,000. My accumulated depreciation, was 43,000. So that means that we had a book value of 25,000. Book value. Now we made a loss of 17,000 there. So if we had a book value of 25 and we made a loss of 17, that must mean my proceeds must have been the difference, which was 8,000. So my proceeds on sale of equipment is 8,000. Now they're the bits of information that I need to include. Now I'd already rebuilt my cash flow statement, and now I'm just looking to put all my highlighted amounts into my cash flow statement. So let's go ahead and do that. my cash flow statements here. So my first item, receipts from my customers. Receipts from my customers is what went through my accounts payable, accounts receivable. So it's receipts from customers is 2,047,000. So I've got 2,047,000. Now, because it's an inflow, I'm leaving it as a normal figure. My payments to suppliers, I'll tick off my accounts receivable. My payments to suppliers is what goes through my accounts payable, and we've got $1.2 million. So I've got 1200, and because this is a payment, I'm going to bracket it to indicate outflow. So once I get that, once I know it's bracketed, I know that I subtract it away from my total. So I tick that one off. My prepaid insurance, I've got 5,000. So that's once again a payment, 5,000. And I've got interest paid, which is my interest payable account, so 15,000. And this is all outflows, so this is why they're bracketed. I've got some operating expenses. Now my operating expenses we worked out to be 351,000. So let's just put in 351, and that's once again an outflow. And then I need to calculate my net cash flow from operating activities. What do we got? 1205, 1220, 1571. So I got 1571. That leaves me with plus 47,000, makes 476,000. And that's one of the items that I need to add into my total net cash flow. Now next I'm looking at my investing activities, and I'm looking for the proceeds of the sale of equipment, and that was my last calculation. Proceeds on the sale of my equipment was $8,000, my last calculation. So let's pop that in. So we've got 8,000, and that's cash inflow. I purchased some equipment. I've got a purchase of my equipment here of 95,000. Yeah, I forgot to tick some of my items off to make sure I've included them. So I've got purchase of my equipment 95,000. Now that's a cash outflow. So once again, I'm going to bracket that figure. And I've got some purchase of land. Now my purchase of land came in at 600,000. Tick that off. 600,000. And once again, it's a cash outflow. Draw a line under it, and I'm going to try to look for my net cash flow from my investing activities. 695 minus 8 makes 687. And it is a cash outflow. So once again, that's an item that I'm going to include in my total net cash flow. And now I'm looking to get my cash flow from my financing activities, dividends, loan, share. So here we go. So I've got a dividends payable. So I had a cash outflow of 30,000. So my dividends paid was 30,000, so it's outflow. So once again, I'm going to indicate it by bracketing that figure. Now I've got some loan proceeds. I've got some inflow here. So cash inflow of 170,000. I borrowed the money from the bank. So I've got 170. And I got proceeds from my share issue. So I did get some money from my share issue as well, which is 130,000. I can tick off these items now. Of 130,000. And once again, that's a cash inflow. So when I total this one, it'll be 170, 200, 300, 270,000 cash inflow. So I've got 270, and that once again goes into my total cash flow. So now my inflows are 276, 476, 676, 746,000 less 687,000. 746 less 687. That's 13. $59,000. So I got 59,000 cash inflow. Now my cash balance at the start It's quite easy. My cash balance is 26,000. So I've got 26,000 here. And my